Hello, can you believe this is our last week on the craft journal? Now, sometimes things in church change and this week's plan changed, so we've got a slightly different entry this week. And as this is the only week we're looking at the Christmas story, I thought it'd be really nice to put the stable into this week's entry. So we're going to do the walk up to the stable where Jesus was born. So step one, you've got some beige paper and I want you to fold it into four. So fold it in half and half again. And we're going to just cut the edges down so that we have 4 rectangles. We're going to use 3 of these. Okay, so for 3 of these rectangles we're going to turn them into squares by just cutting the edge off, and then we're going to cut some of these leftover bits up into strips. We're going to use a couple of these to make our stable with. Okay, and then one of these bits I'm just going to make a shape that might look a little bit like a manger. Obviously you've got a bit more time, so you can make a fancier manger than I have. That's step 1 done. Step 2, we're going to colour in a grey road at the bottom of our prayer journal. So obviously again I'm colouring quickly so that we can get on with the rest of this video, but you can spend a bit more time colouring your road. You might also want to colour in a night sky and make yours look a bit more finished than mine is going to look. There you go, so there's my road. Next I need to draw and colour a door and a window on each of my squares. So these are going to be the houses that were visited where there was no room for Mary, Joseph and the baby Jesus. So here's 1. 2 and 3. Again, you can spend longer. You could even make your houses a little prettier than I've chosen to make mine. There you go. Now, we're going to glue these strips onto our road. So this is what Mary and Joseph would see on their walk into Jerusalem. They'd see lots of houses, but all of them were full with people who arrived before them. There was nowhere for them to stay. But then one kind innkeeper said that there was room in their stable. So that's the thing that we need to make next. So I'm just going to be cheeky and cut one of these in half. Careful of your fingers. And I'm going to glue these little strips and put these at the end of my street. There's 1. There's 2. And of course our stable will need a roof, so we can use 2 more of these strips to make a roof. There's 1. And there's 2. And finally, it's really important that our manger goes inside our stable. So here we go. Now obviously you could draw baby Jesus and Mary and Joseph, even an animal or 2 inside of your journal. Time to make step 3. Okay, so we've got some yellow paper in our pack as well, so we're going to use that for 2 things. The first thing we're going to do is cut 3 strips, and on each strip we're going to write no room, because there were no rooms free for Mary and Joseph to stay in. one more. There you go. So we're going to glue these signs onto our houses. There was no room at the inn. There's one. There's two. And one more. There's three. But Jesus was able to stay somewhere, to be born somewhere in Jerusalem. He was allowed to be born in a stable. He didn't need anywhere posh. The Son of God was content with the most basic of accommodation. Now, the wise men, we're told, find Jesus because they followed the star. So we're going to put a star above the stable to remind us of that. So I've cut 2 triangles out of my paper, and I can put that together to make a nice big star. Now, if you feel comfortable drawing a star and cutting out in one go, that's fine, but sometimes mine go wrong, so I find it easier to make a star this way. So here we go. Here's our star, so people know where to find Jesus, who is going to be in our manger, because there is no room in the inn.